And good morning, people. Welcome back to Jade Cocoon 2. Well, last time we hatched our egg and we did a bit of training in the arena to get familiarised with the basics of combat in this game. We've chosen our second divine beast. I've chosen the water one. Could have chosen the wind or the earth. I usually choose the wind if I remember correctly, but this time I'm going with the water. No real preference, they all were fairly good with as good as each other. But we need to go back to the Jade throne room and continue our training. We only went a little way into the training forest. Let's do the rest, shall we?
Levant, I passed my beast amulet training.
Good job. Now is the final test. Try an actual fight. Use your training and experience to escape from the wormhole forest. The forest you are going to has divine beasts, so touching them will start a battle. An instructor disguised as a coma is waiting in some nest hole in the forest. Battle that instructor and get the key spore from that nest hole. Get through the exit princess file and you pass the test.
If I lose in battle in the forest, what happens?
If that happens, I guess you're divine beast fool.
Really?
Just joking. The beast amulet will bring you back to the temple. That's how it works. Most gracious, eh?
Oh, that's a relief. I don't want to get gobbled up by a divine beast.
However, if you lose and come back to the temple, you forfeit all items.
So that my eggs and everything will all be lost?
So don't overdo it. Knowing when to quit is also important. You can use the beast amulet to get back to the temple whenever you want. Now, it's about time to start. Go into the forest.
So, yeah, a little bit of a dump of additional information. This game does not have random encounters. Not at all. We'll see that in just a moment. And if we do lose in battle, it's not game over either. As far as I'm aware, this game does not have a game over screen at all. You just get teleported back to the temple to try again, only losing your items. That can be bad, but in my experiences, I find it hard to actually lose a battle. Doesn't mean I haven't. Anyways, the Kamori Gate. Back into the training forest. There is nothing in this first level. There is nothing in this Ogrevine now. There will never be anything in there ever again. Actually, I believe this is possibly the second to last time I'm coming to this training forest one, and I won't see it ever again. But went through the princess shrine onto the second island. This one's slightly bigger and has a few more Ogrevines. But as you can see at the top there, or to the top left, that is our enemy. That is a wandering Karma, or a wandering divine beast. Divine beasts in this forest are passive. They won't chase after you if they see you. So, yeah, shouldn't really be any problem. Attack them from behind, and you have initiative. So let's just do this. The reason I've put it onto this and why I did that heal there for no discernible reason will come up in a moment. And now I'll just do some damage. They do burn hit. They don't always use skills. Enemies, you must always use a skill. Unless you're out of MP. The enemies don't. But experience earned 25 experience. If I had not used the heal with the with my water divine beast, they would have only got, I believe, 5. I believe you get 1/5 of the experience, maybe half, so it might have been 12. So no matter what happens, try to use all formations in a battle. And levels up with some random stats. Right now the stats don't really do a whole lot. Any real any increase isn't really going to be a big impact at this moment in time. But let's go in here, shall we? We've got an item. This, I believe, is a gourd. Mel's Elixir number 1. Mel's Elixirs recover MP. 50 MP to be exact, which is most of one of my, yeah, pretty much all of my talk over there, my Tamatok, and most of my slimy. That's well, the slimy is my water. The one up, my fire one, is actually called a Mal, so I might just call it by that until I remember names. This here is exactly what I wanted to see on this run, this go through. A dull stone. Dull stones are only good for money. However, if I hadn't found it out on the path here and found it in one of the ogre vines, it would only have been, I believe, a flawed stone. So I would, and flawed stones are worse than dull stones. Dull stones are better for selling. Flame book. Quite common and cheap, yeah. Flame book inflicts 30 damage to enemy. These books can only be used in battle, which I might just show in the boss fight, which will come up soon. But more enemies. I'm just going to do the same thing. Right now I don't have a lot of options. There we go. Attack. Basically, he chose not to do an attack. He chose not to use a skill and instead just did an attack. Most times, it's much weaker than their normal skill. Its attack is basically an E level attack, while skills can be up to S. So, yeah, if they do something like that, it's pretty much a free turn. And that one's over. I pretty much have no MP now on my Mal. That's a small issue. Come on, turn around. Let's see if I can get a initiative. One thing to note: when your divine beasts are not currently in the row, in the action row, which is in front of you, they will slowly regenerate MP. Very, very slowly. As you can see at the back there, where on the right it did say MP 4. That was my email receiving 4 MP, because it wasn't in the back in the action row. And now my slimy will get a bit there. But I'm out of MP now, so all I've got is the E attack. You have to be very, very mindful of MP. Ah, and he has dropped an item which will probably be a flawed stone. No, a second dull stone. Okay, that's not too bad. I like that. That's money. I believe dull stones sell for 50. I'd like to say. Yeah, the reason why I went back there was just to check to see if any more enemies had appeared. Sometimes they do appear behind you after you've exited a spot. This here is a mugwort. You can usually tell what they are by the item being on the ground. Mugworts are healing items. Mel's Elixir did 50 MP. The mugworts do 50 HP. Keep in mind, mugworts and Mel's Elixirs can only be used outside a battle. They cannot be used in battle. Only books can be used in battle, and everything else can be used outside a battle. That sounds like the key spores. And this here is basically a free heal. Once. It will heal all MP, all HP, and then it's withered. One thing to note about it, it is always in the same ogre vine, and if you come back here later, or come back to it later after you've exited the entire area, gone back to the temple, it will be back, and you can use it again. Anyways, key spores. We've got someone here.
Hey there. What do you do when you use mana points and your beast's mana points goes down?
That's a problem, particularly for Naz. You mostly use items to get mana points back. You can also recover mana points by spinning the formation and letting the beast rest and back.
Everyone else is having a hard time too.
But thinking of battle methods and formations is fun too, right? Your mana points drop as you use it, so you have to think carefully and manage.
Careful use of mana points is extremely important in this game, at least to start off with. Later on, not so much. Actually, even then, in a little bit. But got the key spores now, and we can move on through the Princess Vine. And we have now got to the island where it says boss. Doesn't mean you get into a boss fight immediately. I know for a fact that the boss fight is actually down there. I do. Oh no, that's the Princess Vine. The boss fight is in the Ogre Vine here. I don't want to fight him just yet. So I'm going to go back to the temple and enter the forest again. Because I do want at least one more level on my beasts. You can talk to...
You're not there yet. You've got to try over and over until you get it. Be sure to check the status of your divine beasts after a battle.
Yeah, you can talk to him. He'll give you tips and hints. Plus just conversation things as well. When you come back to the Jade Throne Room, your divine beasts are automatically healed to 100%. Mine already were, but now that I have...
Hey, where are you going? Go into the forest again. You remember?
Oh, I guess I can't go to sell my items. Yeah, mine were already full health, but when you come back to the Jade Throne Room, you will automatically get healed back to full health. One thing to note about re-entering the same forest. Not everything respawns completely. Last time I had, 4 enemies on the path? I believe I'll have only around about 2 on this time. And the more times you come in a row, the less there'll be. There is a way around that, but I'm just going to go and clear things out, and I'll meet you back in Training Forest 3 for the boss fight, unless I find something interesting. Alright, hill spot again. As you can see, it is back in action. It is glowing again, and I can heal my divine beast back to full health. Yeah, there was just the two enemies. Everything was in the Ogre Vines as before. However, I believe I got a little bit lucky there. As I said, the more times you come back, the less there is. That includes items in the Ogre Vines. Sometimes they'll be empty. Sometimes there'll be slightly different items. Actually, the Ogre Vines are pretty random in most, unless they're a specific Ogre Vine. All these are pretty specific, but they could still end up with nothing in them if you come into a forest too much. Anyways, let's go and meet up with this person who's supposed to be, well, disguised as a karma.
Hey, I found the boss!
How rude, Sonny. I may look like this, but I'm your teacher.
Teacher? Oh, I get it. More training. So, do you know a lot about the forest?
Of course. You know all about beast hunters? That is the object of the beast hunters.
Well, I'm not wearing a mask, so yeah, it's got to be that one.
Oh yeah, I learned that. It's to purify Kalma.
My. Very good, Sonny. You're studying hard.
Teach, one question. Are the Kalma different from other divine beasts?
Totally different, Sonny. Parasitic insects have altered their appearance.
Altered? To what?
To humans. Humans! Isn't that awful? What's worse is that they are recently mimicking the beast hunters.
Mimicking? What's that?
It means they look like beast hunters.
So, how can you tell the difference?
If you meet someone in the forest, first try talking to them. They may look like people, but the scum can't talk. You'll quickly find out. Now, enough studying. Let's get on with the contest.
All right, let's go. Teach, you strong?
That's right, Sonny. I am the teacher after all.
Those masks they're wearing do have a specific meaning as well.
Here goes, Teach.
All right, I'm playing for keeps.
But they have a fire and an earth. I think it's time to show the items. I've got a flame book. Let's use one, shall we? It does damage, but it doesn't use up your turn. Your divine beasts still get a turn, so feel free to use books. They are there to help you. One thing to remember though, you notice I've turned the beast amulet. You cannot use items and turn in the same turn. So if you are going to use an item, make sure you're on the formation side you want. I'm going to use up both flame books in this fight, because why the heck not? Plus they use Ramak. Ramak ups defense for 2 turns. It increases it in both turns, so the first turn it increases it a little bit, then it increases it again, and then it's back to normal. Well, so much for that book. Yeah, 14 that time, so it didn't really do that much. Let's burn hit again. And there you go, 21. Gonna do the heal. This fight is pretty much done though. All he can use is Ramak. All we can do is raise his defense. He can't actually hurt me unless he runs out of MP. And now he has no beasts, so he can't do anything except this.
Ouch! You do pretty good, Sonny.
So, done.
Not bad. You did well, Sonny.
You were pretty strong yourself, Teach.
Hey, well, gosh. Look. See that?
Hey, that's a key spore. So, I passed the test here?
Don't let your guard down till you're out of the princess vine, Sonny. Pay close attention to the condition of your divine beasts.
And reputation has gone up by 10, which means I can take an advancement test.
Anyway, Sonny, do you know all about the beast amulet? It has lots of handy functions. You know all about them?
What's that?
What kind of functions? Like a laser beam or something?
No, not that. You don't get it. You can fix the condition of your divine beast or change your formations. You can also use it to return to the temple. Press the triangle button to see lots of different menus. Get used to them.
We're going to be seeing them a lot. So we've got our keys ball, we've passed our test. Now we just need to get out. Unfortunately, we can't just warp out of here. It's got a bit dark out here though. Yeah, I should be alright. The Princess Vine is just over here after all. Should be fine.
I got a bad feeling. Wonder if something's still here. Cool. But what is this? How pretty. Hey, this must be an egg of a rare divine beast. Yow! What's happening? Huh? Where am I? Still conscious, huh? Guess it doesn't work so well on humans. What? Another me? Who are you? Me? I'm you. You're gonna turn into me. What? Hey, imposter! Try making sense. Shut up! All you gotta do is hand over your body.
So we're fighting
Here
ourselves.
I come, imposter! I can feel the darkness in you.
One thing to note, don't try and win this fight. Simply because you can't. Yeah. All I can do now is try to escape, which won't happen. You can't actually give up in this fight. There I go.
You're pretty strong.
Yeah, you can't win that fight, as far as I'm aware. At least not at this stage. Or at least of my development.
Let's settle this. Collect the orbs. Then you.
Hey, you there! Wake up already! Huh? Are you dead?
Who? Who? Is someone there?
Yup, I'm Nico, a fairy who came from the dream world. To be exact, I got woken up. Oh, annoying. Anyway, you've got trouble. An ugly ogre is hiding in your heart.
In my heart? An ogre?
Where there's light, there's shadow. Don't touch a fairy cocoon. He who soils divine sleep, harboring calamitous darkness. Huh? Don't you learn that from your old man now?
What? So am I cursed by you?
Bingo! Are you the type to be fooled by looks? Pretty roses have thorns. Pretty cocoons have curses. Remember that.
You're from the dream world. Where is that world?
Oh, between heaven and earth, or, well, it's, well, how can I describe it exactly? Deep space, or maybe another world, or strange space, fantasy?
Ah, I get it. This is all a dream. Maybe that light did it?
Who's gonna believe that? Just look at your rear end. What is that thing anyway? You've got quite a thing there.
Huh? What do you mean? Huh? Yikes!
This is how Kahu and I met. He who soils divine sleep, harboring calamitous darkness. Poor Kahu's heart was shared by another violent Kahu. A heart divided into light and shadow cannot be one or the other. Only the strong survive, and this is the law of the wild. Humans, beasts of knowledge, imperfect creatures who know too much. This world, you see, is full of traps that test humans like Kahu. Kahu touched my cocoon, but this too was one of those traps. I was summoned from the dream world to take the role of leading these imperfect beasts and determining their fate. Not what you'd call a dream job, huh? Even chance meetings are the result of inescapable karma. Even so, that's a really ugly tale. Oh well, what you gonna do?
There's another Kahu inside of you, Kahu. So Kalma has become a human parasite.
Sir, what do we do? This guy is a horrible demon.
That's mean. I'm still in my right mind.
But this is real trouble. If we just leave you like this, you'll become Kalma.
No! You're joking, right? Can't you fix it?
The only way to do it is to pull Kalma out of you and have a contest.
Pull him out? That guy? How? He's inside me, right?
Dark summoning. There's one way. If only we had the forest orbs.
Orbs? What are those?
Long ago, the Chosen One passed the forest ordeal and was given them.
Fire, wind, water, earth. Together, the four orbs will open the door of space-time. If I play the Dark Lute at that time, I may be able to call the Kalma out of Kahu.
So, if I collect those orbs, we can defeat that guy?
It's not so easy. Only the Chosen One can get them, right?
It may be possible if one has the power to get deep into the four forests.
At this rate, I'll no longer be me. Levant, I'll do it.
Well then, I'll give you a license and open the Kumari Gate. I too shall practice on this Dark Lute from this day forward. After all, this is the only means of handling darkness.
Good timing anyway. I was getting bored in the other world. You're so lucky to have someone like me who knows so much about divine beasts.
You're so full of yourself, as if you care. Anyway, let's do it. Miss Fairy?
Oh gosh, I'm your friend now. Call me Nico.
Whatever. Weird fairy.
Well, I did say at the start when I pressed the start game, let's have our resident fairy explain things, and she has finally joined up with us. Took a while, but we are now out of our training stage, and we've been given this tale, and Kahu's got karma inside of him. But at least we know sort of how we're going to sort it. It's not going to be easy though. We've got a long way to go, So next time, let's see if we can get started, shall we? Until then, have a wonderful day, have lots of fun. Goodbye.